The historic German Grand Prix and the 4.2-mile Hockenheim circuit near Heidelberg is very fast. Most of the lap is flat out through dense pine forests, but at the end of it there's a twisty bit where over 100,000 chanting, roaring spectators drown the noise of the cars. Although 4 different cars have dominated this year's results, Ligier, Ferrari, Renault and Williams, the championship still led by Ferrari's Jody Scheckter. 6 points ahead of his teammate Gilles Villeneuve and 8 ahead of Ligier's Jacques Laffite, with Carlos Reutemann and the hospitalised Depailler tying for 4th place ahead of British Grand Prix winner Clay Regazzoni. And after 4 practice sessions in oppressive heat, the superb turbocharged Renault of Jean-Pierre Jabouille's fastest, with a searing lap at 141 miles an hour. 7 seconds below the lap record, but only 0.2 of a second quicker than Alan Jones's Saudia Williams. Row 2, Jacques Laffite, back in the groove alongside the astonishing Nelson Piquet's Brabham, with Scheckter and Regazzoni's Williams in row 3. And in row 8, the only Englishman in the race, Grand Prix newcomer Jeff Lees in the Candy Tyrrell. 45 laps, 190 miles, and the temperature is 90 degrees. Alan Jones straight into the lead, Jabouille in 2nd place, Laffite going through, and Jody Scheckter in their Ferrari behind Nelson Piquet in the Brabham as they go round the right-hander up towards the first of the 2 chicanes on the 4.2-mile lap. Alan Jones leading in the Saudia Williams. Behind him in 2nd place, it's the Ligier, then Jabouille, and Scheckter's coming up from 5th into 4th position. Tremendously fast here. 3rd gear, 10,500 RPM, 125 miles an hour, and it's Jones, Laffite, Jabouille. Then Scheckter in 5th position behind Piquet. Piquet in 4th position, and Hansstuck and Emerson Fittipaldi last as they go up to the Ostkurve. 4th gear, 150 miles an hour at this point, and they're getting faster all the time as they go round the east curve, with Alan Jones leading. And there in the midfield, it's Niki Lauda and Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari, down towards chicane 2, 180 miles an hour here. 3rd gear, 10,500 RPM, Alan Jones, Jabouille in 2nd position now, Jacques Laffite in 3rd position, and there is Jody Scheckter 4th, Nelson Piquet 5th, Clay Regazzoni in the Williams in 6th place. Now on down the tremendously fast 150-mile-an-hour straight, which leads to the Onco curve into the stadium for the first time, and Regazzoni is passing both the Brabhams. Alan Jones, number 27 in the Saudia Williams, the man who led the British Grand Prix for so long, only to go out, is leading the German Grand Prix. Jabouille 2nd in the Renault, Laffite 3rd, Scheckter 4th, Regazzoni 5th, ahead of Lauda and Piquet in the Brabhams. And there's Jeff Lees in his first Grand Prix, round the Sachs curve as Alan Jones completes lap 1 with 44 to go. Jones leading. And already he's starting to build up a lead over Jabouille in the Renault, Jacques Laffite in the blue Ligier, followed by Jody Scheckter, then a gap, and it's Clay Regazzoni 5th and Niki Lauda in 6th position in the Brabham. Lap 2, Jones, Jabouille, Laffite, Scheckter, there's the Ligier, the Ferrari behind it, up to the Ostkurve, back into 4th gear, into the chicane. And there's Jabouille. Jabouille is starting to close a bit on Alan Jones, but Alan Jones has got the lead and he's holding it. It's still Laffite, and Stuck, the German in the ATS in front of his home crowd, is out of the race. But Alan Jones still leading. There's Jabouille, there's Laffite in 3rd position, behind him the Scarlet Ferrari. Laffite into the chicane. Notice the twitch of the car, and he's chasing very hard. The French Renault in front of him, the Williams in front of him, and here is Alan Jones, Jabouille, and a great plume of smoke. There's somebody off the course there, and look again, coming into the top of your screen, sideways, back into the arm coat, spins it round. Who is it into the front? And it's difficult. It's Carlos Reutemann. Carlos Reutemann, the Argentine, who crashed his car in practice yesterday, destroyed the front of it, out in the spare car, and he's out of the race already. A tragic afternoon for the Argentine, Carlos Reutemann. It's a Lotus 79, incidentally, and not a Lotus 80. Reutemann well and truly out of the race, and now on lap 6, Jean-Pierre Jabouille in the yellow and white turbocharged 1.5 litre Renault is catching the 3 litre Ford Cosworth powered car of Alan Jones, the Saudi Williams. Now, is Alan Jones going to be able to keep ahead of the Renault? It's a much more powerful car, the Renault, and there it is, 510 horsepower. And Jabouille, who had brake trouble in practice, was perfectly all right in the warm-up this morning. Now he's well on his way, chasing Alan Jones. And here they are, Jones leading, Jabouille second, Lafitte is third. Jabouille away, up to the chicane again. And Jabouille is now right in the slipstream of the Saudi Williams car, driven by the Australian Alan Jones, 32 years old, son of a great racing driver himself, Stan Jones, and Alan has got the lead. Jabouille, and look at the gap that's developing now between the Renault and Jacques Lafitte's Ligier, with Scheckter behind him in 4th position, and Clay Regazzoni closing up in the second Saudi Williams in 5th place. There goes Regazzoni, and it's Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi out of the race, ex-world champion, new car today, first drive in this Grand Prix, and a terrible season for him. Lap 8, and now Jabouille is right with Alan Jones. He's starting to make his challenge. Jean-Pierre Jabouille, the Frenchman, into the stadium on lap 8, behind Alan Jones, round the Onco curve, up to the Elf curve, and he's in trouble. Jabouille spins, he's lost the Renault, his rear wheel has locked up on braking, and he's spun the Renault. He's missed the catch fencing, look again. There's the puff of smoke, his rear wheel locks up, and he's lost control of the car. He goes onto the outfield, spins it right the way through, misses the catch fencing with a brilliant bit of driving, but Jean-Pierre Jabouille, with his engine full of dust, must surely be out of the race. Indeed he is, out of the car, so no points for Jean-Pierre Jabouille, and Alan Jones is now building up a big cushion between himself and the new second place man Jacques Lafitte in the Ligier, and there he is. And Regazzoni's up to third. Clay Regazzoni has got ahead of Jody Scheckter in the Ferrari. So now the Williams, and there is Lafitte. There is Regazzoni. Behind him, Jody Scheckter. So the Williams cars are first and third, and that's René Arnoux in the Renault. Both of them out of the race. Look at the way the near side front wheel is up off the ground. He's got an offside rear puncture, and René Arnoux is out of the race. Jones leads on lap 13, Lafitte second, Regazzoni third, Scheckter fourth, Villeneuve fifth, and Niki Lauda in 6th position. And Regazzoni has got ahead of Lafitte. Look at that. Look at the white car leading those three. That's Clay Regazzoni up into 2nd place. Jacques Lafitte in the blue and white Ligier behind him, the man who won in Brazil and the Argentine, trying to take Regazzoni. And listen to the crowd roar! The German crowd wants the Swiss driver, Clay Regazzoni, to do well, and he's certainly obeying their wishes. Up into 2nd place, Scheckter in 4th position. And Clay Regazzoni won the German Grand Prix in 1974, and now he has only got Alan Jones, his teammate, in front of him. Mario Andretti in the Lotus 79, not the Lotus 80. That very car won the German Grand Prix last year. That's the reigning world champion, and he is out of the race on lap 23. Alan Jones comes up in this 45-lap race to catch, and soon I think to lap Jan Lammers, the young Dutch driver, in the shadow car. Lammers moves over. Alan Jones goes through. He's now lapped everybody up to 17th place, and there's a big gap. Regazzoni second, Lafitte third, Scheckter fourth, Villeneuve fifth, and Niki Lauda in 6th position. Alan Jones completing lap 23 out of 45. Will the car be reliable? because Alan Jones can drive like this forever. Look at the gap, and Regazzoni is not yet in sight. There he is, coming out of the Opel curve as Alan Jones is on his way to the chicane on lap 24. Some 15-20 seconds lead of Alan Jones over Regazzoni as Lafitte goes round the right-hander in third position in the Ligier, building up points. And there is a battle between Tombé, the Frenchman in the red and white McLaren car, and Jochen Maas, the German, in the Warsteiner Arrows, and they're battling for ninth position, and look at it! Almost banging wheels as Villeneuve and Arnoux did in the French Grand Prix, and Tombé's got the line, and he takes ninth position from Jochen Maas. Maas in 10th place, and there in the second Golden Arrows behind Jochen Maas is Riccardo Patrese, the young Italian, in the second of the two Arrows team cars. Patrese goes through. Tombé, 9th. Maas, 10th in the Warsteiner Arrows. Brand new car. Very impressive, very quick. And Jochen Maas in front of his own home crowd. Lap 25, and that's Ickx. Jackie Ickx in the second of the Ligier is in trouble. And he's obviously out of the race. Look, he's getting out of the car, and see the near side front wheel go up. That's another puncture. That's the offside rear tyre. Yeah, Jackie Ickx, the man who won the German Grand Prix in 1969 and 1972. Another top driver out of this year's race. And there's three of them. Carlos Reutemann on the left, the reigning world champion, Andretti in the middle, and Fittipaldi having a Grand Prix drivers meeting around Reutemann's car. And Villeneuve, there's the position after 25 laps. Jones, Regazzoni, Lafitte, Scheckter, Villeneuve in 5th position with Niki Lauda right behind him. And here they go, that's Villeneuve, there's Lauda, and Lauda's passed Niki Lauda, the ex-world champion in the Parmalat Brabham Alpha with a V12 engine. He's up into 5th place ahead of the Ferrari man Gilles Villeneuve. And this is a tremendously fast part of the course. See the way those two cars are going. They're up to the east curve. This is 150 miles an hour. And look closely at Villeneuve's car. Look at the aerofoil. The near side of the rear aerofoil is bent, and he's obviously in trouble. Look at it as it comes towards you. The second of these two cars. The third is Piquet, incidentally. And there is Lauda, number 5, in 5th position. And there you see the bent aerofoil at the back of Villeneuve's car, which has been bent by something, perhaps vibration. And anyway, it's costing him time as Alan Jones, out on his own, some 21 seconds ahead of Regazzoni now, has only got one Grand Prix victory to his credit in Austria, in the shadow, in 1977. He should have won a lot more since, but he's had the most bitter luck. And there's Villeneuve. There's Villeneuve, and Villeneuve is alone. Where is Niki Lauda? Has he dropped back? He's obviously been passed by Villeneuve, because Villeneuve in the Ferrari is on his own. He must be up into 5th position. And that's Piquet. Piquet has passed Lauda too. So Piquet is in 6th position in his 15th Grand Prix, his first real season of motor racing. Although he drove in the McLaren and the Ensign last year, this is a real works drive for Nelson Piquet. And that is Niki Lauda's car, lap 28. And for the 9th time in 10 Grand Prix, Niki Lauda is out. And there, lap 32 in this 45-lap race is the leader, number 27, Alan Jones, closing up on Jeff Lees in his first Grand Prix in the Candy Tyrrell in 9th place. The blue car, number 4, there it is, just ahead of Patrick Tombé, number 8 in the McLaren M29, and Jeff Lees is driving a magnificent race into the stadium. Lees 9th, Tombé 10th, and then Alan Jones is lapping Tombé. Alan Jones then ahead of Tombé, who is 10th. closing up on Jeff Lees, who is 9th, and Jones goes through to complete another lap.
Niki, was ist passiert?
Motor kaputt.
Ohne Vorzeichen, einfach kaputt gegangen.
Ohne Vorzeichen geplatzt.
Gut, vielen Dank, Niki Lauda. And for our English-speaking friends, Niki Lauda had only engine problem. The engine exploded.
And Alan Jones has exploded too, right out in front. He's now behind Jeff Lees. Jeff Lees in his first Grand Prix. Alan Jones in his 63rd, and Jeff Lees does not want Alan Jones to pass. The chicane. Jones has got to get by to maintain his lead and not be closed up on by Clay Regazzoni. And he's right in Lees' slipstream. He pops out of it. He's going to take him here, and he does so. Jeff Lees finally moves over. Alan Jones goes into the stadium complex in front of those 100,000 plus Germans in the lead, having lapped everybody up to 8th position. Jones the leader in the superbly handling, Patrick Head designed Saudia Williams car, with Frank Williams, the team leader, manager, owner, on the sidelines, in the pits, obviously keeping both his fingers crossed. Jones goes through, and that's Jacques Lafitte in 3rd position behind Clay Regazzoni. Lafitte in the Ligier on lap 34 out of 45. Jacques Lafitte in 3rd position, and that's Piquet. Piquet is up into 5th position ahead of Gilles Villeneuve. So, the young Brazilian has got ahead of the French-Canadian in the Ferrari, Piquet in the Brabham, and that aerofoil of Gilles Villeneuve is obviously bothering him. Scheckter is in 4th place still in the Ferrari, and still very much in the points. Piquet, chicane. Lovely bit of driving. Nelson Piquet through, number 6. 26 years old, from Brasilia, and there is Alan Jones. He's passed Riccardo Patrese in the arrows. He's catching Jochen Maas, the German, who is in 8th position. There's Maas, there is Alan Jones, and Patrese is in trouble. Patrese is in trouble, his tyre has burst. A piece of the car flies off as Jeff Lees goes past him. Patrese coasting to a standstill, and see that rear tyre flapping and flailing away. It's removed part of the bodywork, and Patrese coasts off the course and puts the car in a safe place before he gets out of it. Jones, now look at Patrese. Lees passes him, the bodywork has flown off, the marshals collect the pieces, and there's drama in the pits. Riccardo Patrese goes back to the car, and as the marshals come back, there is indeed drama.
The rear wing on Gilles Villeneuve's car was broken due to vibrations, and Villeneuve is going back on the circuit with 2 new tyres on the left-hand side and 1 on the right front.
2 new tyres for Villeneuve, but still the seconds are ticking away while that damaged aerofoil is replaced. And Villeneuve was in the points because he was up to 5th position, and he would have got 2 points for that. But now he's well down the running as Mauro Forgeri pours water over the side of the car to cool down the petrol pump, which is under the bodywork there, because Ferraris were having fuel vaporization problems in practice yesterday, and Forgeri is obviously worried that that'll happen again. Villeneuve rejoins. He rejoins the race, but now he is in 9th position and out of the points. The man who won in South Africa and Long Beach, 2nd in the World Championship, and after 40 laps, Jones leads Regazzoni, Lafitte 3rd, Scheckter 4th, Nelson Piquet in 5th position, and John Watson in the McLaren M29 in 6th place. And Alan Jones here has done a scintillating record lap, 1 minute 51.9 seconds, 135 miles an hour. And we are now into the last 4 laps, 17 miles to go. And it's at this point, not once but several times in the past, that Alan Jones, in a commanding position, has had car trouble. Is he going to be able to keep the car going? Is he going to have trouble? Alan Jones for sure won't have trouble personally. He's a very gritty, determined, experienced driver, and if anybody can keep a car going, he will, though the Saudi Williams car looks to be in no trouble at all on lap 42. But Regazzoni is gaining. 4 laps to go, including this one. Only 12 cars left out of the 24 that started. Andretti is out, Lauda, Jabouis, Fittipaldi, Arnoux is out, Reutemann is out, Stuck is out, but Alan Jones there is in. There is Jochen Maas, and there is Clay Regazzoni behind Maas. That is the gap. The gap that was 21 seconds is down as Alan Jones goes through the chicane. Without a doubt, Clay Regazzoni, the brilliant 39-year-old, oldest man in the race, winner of the British Grand Prix 2 weeks ago, has passed everybody and is up into second position, gaining on the race leader Alan Jones. Jones then into the Sachs curve. Regazzoni behind him. And here the crowd shout and roar again as Regazzoni appears in their sight, ever closer to Jones. Now, is Alan Jones in trouble? Is his engine giving him trouble? Is anything else giving him trouble? Or is he just playing a very cool, relaxed game as he goes into lap 3? 12.5 miles only to go, and the gap is now 7.2 seconds as Regazzoni comes up to take Jochen Maas in the arrows. So now Regazzoni has got nothing but clear circuit between him and Alan Jones, the race leader. There's the gap, Jones through, Regazzoni approaching. Maas immediately behind him has been lapped. 7.2 seconds was the gap. Jones, Regazzoni, Lafitte is still third, Scheckter fourth, Watson fifth, and Nelson Piquet in sixth position. This is Clay Regazzoni. Into the Ost curve. This is the 150-mile-an-hour bend where line is of paramount importance, where the tyres really have to hang on. And Regazzoni, the man they wrote off 2 years ago, has proved that there's life in the old fox yet, and he's proving it right now. And this time, when they go round the Onco curve, surely the crowd will go berserk. And that's very soon, because both Alan Jones and Clay Regazzoni are out of the second chicane, and Jones goes into the stadium complex now. Down through the gears goes Regazzoni into third, 125 miles an hour, and listen! The drivers say that when the crowd shouts like that, you can hear them above the engines, and I believe it. Clay Regazzoni then ever closer as he goes round the right-hander at the Opel curve, soon to start the last lap. The distance between Alan Jones and Clay Regazzoni is down to 6.2 seconds. Jones, this is lap 44. They still have a full lap to go at the end of this one, and Clay Regazzoni could still do it, but catching Alan Jones he might be able to do. Get past Alan Jones he might well not be able to do if the car is running as well as it seems to be. And I do believe that Alan Jones is not in any sort of trouble, but that he can see Clay Regazzoni, that's Jochen Maas incidentally, that Jones can see Clay Regazzoni in his mirrors, knows exactly what the score is watching his pit signals, and that his ice-cool, very experienced racing brain is telling him exactly what to do as Piquet goes off the course. Nelson Piquet in sixth position, again is destined not to finish. The Brabham Alphas are having a terrible season. He parks his car behind Andretti's car as Alan Jones goes through the chicane down to the Onco curve. There is Regazzoni, that's the gap. It's a bit longer than it looks on your screen, but not all that much. Alan Jones on his way, if he finishes the second lap, last lap successfully, to his second Grand Prix win in his long Grand Prix career, and the crowd's at it again. Regazzoni is their man. And now Regazzoni has got this supreme challenge out of the Opel curve, up through the gears, from third into fourth, from fourth into fifth, up to 160 miles an hour. The gap, 3.98 seconds as they go into the last lap. Less than 4.2 miles to go now. Up to the chicane. Noch ein Runde, 1 lap to go. Jones, Regazzoni, chicane, 130 miles an hour, out of it. Regazzoni, Jones ahead of him, last lap, east curve, 150 miles an hour, it's less than 3 seconds now, and this is the last lap. This is the second half of the last lap. The two Saudia Williams cars, a brilliant achievement. Look as though they're going to finish first and second. Regazzoni rounds the Ost curve. Now down to the second chicane. This is 180 miles an hour. Past Patresi's stricken arrows. Into chicane 2, 120 miles an hour. Flick it through. Left, right, left. Accelerate away. Fourth gear. Up to 150 miles an hour. Regazzoni gaining, but Jones must surely be home and dry now. Surely nothing can happen in the very closing stages of the last lap for his second Grand Prix victory. Onco curve. Regazzoni. And the crowd roars, but noticeably quieter this time, because they can see that with but 2 corners to go, Alan Jones must win, but Regazzoni will be second. Alan Jones, number 27, the Australian in the Saudia Williams, wins the 1979 German Grand Prix from 28 Clay Regazzoni in the Saudia Williams by 2.9 seconds to give himself 9 points. Jacques Lafitte, 26 in the Ligier, third, 4 points in the World Championship, narrowly to close the gap on himself and Jody Scheckter, who still leads, and there is Scheckter in the Ferrari, fourth place, 3 points. In fifth position, John Watson in the McLaren M29, and in sixth place, the German Jochen Mass in the Arrows, 1 point. As the two Williams cars comparatively slow down for a magnificent demonstration victory lap, the result: Alan Jones, Clay Regazzoni, Jacques Lafitte third, Jody Scheckter in fourth position, John Watson fifth, and Jochen Mass sixth. And that does make a difference for the World Championship, because as Alan Jones proudly shows the cup and no champagne, Scheckter is still in the lead. Jacques Lafitte second, Villeneuve down to third, Clay Regazzoni up to fourth, Reutemann and Depailler still tying but down in fifth, and in seventh place now, Alan Jones. So, in 10 Grand Prix, this is the fourth time that the same make has finished first and second, but before it's been either Ferrari or Ligier. This is the first time for Saudia Williams, probably not the last.